Good morning, hockey fans, and happy Black Friday. Big news in the NHL this morning for the Montreal Canadiens, especially as Mike Matheson has been extended by the Canadiens on a 5-year deal, paying him $6 million as an average annual value, AAV of 6 million over 5 years. And as Marco D'Amico was just saying in this tweet that I was starting to look at as I was pulling together for the instant reaction and analysis, he could have been getting somewhere around $2 million more as a UFA this summer because of the rising cap. Everything you're going to think about, okay, Mike Matheson, is he worth $6 million? He's going to be compared to other defensemen and whatnot. But think about not only his current value, but how the rising cap is going to diminish that against, in a percentage-wise, proportionally to the rest of what defensemen will be making into the UFA markets of 2027, 2028, 2029, and onward. So for 5 more years, he's going to be extended starting next year, so 2026 to 2031. Will he be worth $6 million by the end? Most extensions usually aren't by the end, as he's now, how old is he? As he is now 31 years old. So will he be worth that? He's turning 32 in February. Will he be worth that at 36, 37? Probably not. But for the Canadiens, maybe not their window, but for their best chance at winning, with Demidov being on an entry-level contract right before Lane Hutson's extension kicks in, even when it does kick in, with Cole Caulfield being on a great steal, with Suzuki being on a great steal. This is a huge Black Friday deal for the Montreal Canadiens and for Kent Hughes. Big dub for Went Hughes, who goes out and gets Mike Matheson, 5 years, $6 million, a guy who could have been making something closer to 7.58 in a UFA market. Intelligent Dice saying in one of our channel members, enjoy that Matheson experience for 5 more years. It's a heck of a ride. Yes, it is. Now, as a Canadiens fan, as someone who watches all the Canadiens games, it's easy to kind of rag on Mike Matheson from time to time. But I think the value that he brings for $6 million is going to, he's like a top 4 guy. And the minutes that he's playing, ridiculous minutes. He's played as high as 30 minutes, that shootout game against the Blue Jackets the other night. He's playing upwards of 22, 26 minutes, averaging 24.50. As a Montreal Canadian, he's averaging 25.06 per night, over 25 minutes as a, yes, mostly that first pair guy, now more in the second pair role. You have Hudson, you have Gooley, but with all these injuries, with the Canadiens' injuries that they're sustaining, and even if everyone was healthy and he were to be relegated to third pair come the end of his contract, I still think that's a great contract. Look at the Canadiens' depth chart right now. You have Matheson, Dobson as your top pair. And you say, okay, well, right now you have Gooley out and you have other defensemen coming up in the system. So put Gooley on the top pair. Maybe Matheson goes down to second pair. And by the end, maybe he's on third pair, like I just said. But this is going to be a guy who's in your top 4 for still a few more years to come. He's not getting pushed out tomorrow by Jaden Struble. Give the Canadiens a healthy top 4D of Matheson, Dobson, Hudson, and Gooley. And I love that window that's just been created. Gooley at 5.5 for another 6 years. You have Matheson now, 5 more years at $6 million. Dobson at 9.5. Yes, that's expensive, but that's your top pair guy. Lane Hudson on a steal of an extension at 8.85. So are these costly contracts? Yeah, for sure. But this is a team that's going to be moving into that competing category. No longer can they stay in the let's look for the deals, let's look for the young guys, let's look for the bargain bin Dale Weisses and D'Agostino's, right? Or D'Agostini's. So Marco D'Amico again saying he could have been getting somewhere around $2 million more per year as an AAV if we were to go to free agency this summer. Yeah, 5 ans, valeur de 6 millions par année. Exactly, there you go. 6 million AAV. I want to see a bit more on the numbers of Mike Matheson, but before that, let's just get into it. Since coming over to the Canadiens, it was a great deal. What an ROI on this, where they dumped Jeff Petrie and even Ryan Poehling, and they get not only Mike Matheson, but they also get a draft pick, which turned into Bogdan Konusikov. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect at that pronunciation. Is he ever going to come over here? Probably not, even without the draft pick, sure. So Canadiens, 4 years as a Canadian, like I said, parts of 4 years now, 141 points in 232 games, 60 less games than his time in Florida, but 50 more points. Averaging, like I said again, 25.06 in the ice time. Staxers, wow, oh my goodness, long time no see. Staxers, who was here when I was first starting my NHL 20 videos. Matheson's growth has been pretty linear. The contract seems decent. That's the thing. Is he going to get much better than he is now? I don't think so. Is he possibly even going to get worse? Yeah, sure. 33, 34, 35. But for the value that he gives you today, and for how that's going to affect your salary cap in years to come with the rising cap, we need to get out of the mind frame of the static cap, myself included. It's no longer going to be where you can compare these contracts from 3 years ago, 4 years ago. The next few years are going to be explosive. These contracts now and these contracts in the future are going to be very different. The 2025 to 2035 range is going to be night and day from 2015 to 2025. Hextall, yeah, tough trade for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Anyways, I like what he's been doing as a Montreal Canadien. Does he have his bonehead moments? Don't we all, right? If we go to the possession metrics, Corsi, yeah. As a defenseman, it's been a little bit different to see the Corsi, but just if you're curious looking at Corsi percentage, it's gone down each year, 47.4, 44.6, 43.5, 41.3. Yeah, that's gone down over time. I'm not going to try and lie about that. How isn't he going to get worse? Defenseman age like wine. Peak isn't at 22, 23, like forward 32, 34 is peak in my opinion. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to get worse starting tomorrow, but I'm saying a 5-year deal for a guy who's about to turn 32, then you can kind of expect, okay, when he's 35, 36, 37, it's not going to be the same as his value in 31, 32, 33. But yeah, don't get me wrong. This contract is going to be paying him, maybe not, I don't know if I call it his prime, but still his good value years. Can we call it that? His good value years are still here to stay. He's not going to be going down starting next season. But towards the end of the extension, like most extensions, when you get a guy who's on your team and you want to keep him long term, you have to pay. Might get that deal to get him a little bit less for now, but then it's going to cost you a little more later when he's maybe in that third pair role. Long time since I've been active. LOL, nice to see the linear progression from you also, bro. Thank you, Saxers. Montreal's on the way up. Yes, one of my last videos was when Suzuki was entering the league, so it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a little while, Saxers. Really happy to hear from you, buddy. I sometimes your name pops up in my subscriptions. I say, man, what's Daxter's up to? So that's even strength metrics. Going back and looking at, you know what? Interesting. Even strength wise, his Corsi percentage has gone from 47 down to 43.6 for the last couple of years, including this season, back to 47. Okay. Now, he was an absolute mule with the Penguins, having to play every situation. He was really good in that, at least, metric at 53.5 in 21-22. Power play, yeah, his power play time has been going down. Anyways, not going to look at all the metrics just here. Corsi 4 per 60, yeah, from 51.7, 55.2, 53.0. This year 47.4. Interesting. Now, the Montreal Canadiens themselves, what do they have to look forward to moving into these next years? So, instant reaction analysis for Mike Matheson. I love it. Is there anything more on Matheson here? Get some metrics. Jay Fresh, there it is. So Mike Matheson, extended 5x6 by Montreal, is a smooth skating veteran defenseman who logs a lot of difficult minutes and is very involved on the ice. His on-ice numbers don't necessarily align with the amount of stuff he does, especially in his own zone where he's where he is a very active defender. So are we impressed by 9th percentile projected wins above replacement? No. But keep in mind, this is over the last 3 years of weighted average data, and he's playing against the highest levels of competition in the entire NHL. So over the last 3 years, we've seen that his value, 25th, maybe 27th percentile, around the same in 23-24. Now it's dropped dramatically from 24 to 26. We do have to admit that for sure. I like Mike Matheson, but I think we can always speak honestly as well. He's in the 65th percentile of goals, 78th for primary assists. He's drawing penalties above the league average. He's playing with decent levels of teammates, but power play, penalty kill even, not great. It's the competition that is the number that I look at the most right here. He's in the 95th percentile against the highest levels of competition in the NHL. And his numbers aren't great, but I'm glad that he's not in that like 5th percentile, right? I'll take the 24th of even strength offense and 19th of even strength defense on a team which is getting only better defensively. It's no longer Mike Matheson and Jean-Guy from Laval Rocket. Now it's Mike Matheson and Noah Dobson, Caden Gooley, Lane Hudson into their prime years. So I like this deal in terms of I would bet on Mike Matheson having a rebound in these metrics of even strength offense, even strength defense, and overall wins above replacement percentile. Maybe not back up to the 80th percentile, whatever it might be, but I do think that it's going to be. I'd be shocked if it stays anywhere close to single-digit percentiles over future years to come. I think Mike Matheson is kind of in store for a good number of years ahead. Mike Matheson, here's Frank Saravalli showing his commitment to the Canadiens, leaving a pretty substantial amount of total dollars on the table to stay in Montreal. 5x6 as opposed to what could he have gotten? 6x7, 5x7.5, 4x8 point something. Marco D'Amico saying he left at least $2 million per year on the table. Looking at this bench rates, I don't look at these very often, but just if you're curious, individual offense, on-ice offense, Well, on ice, where else would he be having offense? Defense, contributions, unpaid contributions. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I understand these numbers, but just for anyone who does, there's a page for you, a little graphic for you. Okay, they're live over there. 5x6 on Matheson. Not a bad Friday morning for old Mikey. And here we go right here. Don't know what to really make of Matheson, says Jay Fresh. The tools are there, and he works extremely hard, especially in his own zone. Super active stick checker and puck carrier especially. Still playing the number one defenseman role, even with Hudson and Dobson there. So, again, this is just projected 2025-26 ratings in wins above replacement. So I look more at the colors than the numbers. And, chance assists, he's up there. D-zone retrievals, puck battles, takeaways, defensive zone puck touches, all very good. Transition, fantastic. Miscellaneous, I like the speed, the puck touches, and all that. It's the offensive zone where we see, okay, it's dropped off from, wow, he was a 60-point defenseman. Then he drops dramatically down to 31 in 80. But this year, 14 and 22. 14 and 22 is what? That's a 52-point pace. Is he going to keep that? I'm not sure. We'll see what happens when everybody's healthy. But a 52-point pace from Mike Matheson this year is a fantastic rebound from 31 points last year. And he's still eating the big minutes. I like this contract very much. I look forward to hearing what all of you think down in the comments and here in the live stream. If I go over to some of the comments here. Hey, man, a little off topic, but should I get NHL 26? If it's on sale, you could think about it. But otherwise, I don't know about that. Montreal's kind of stacked on that left side. Yes, Hudson, obviously. Then Matheson, Gouli, Jackeye, Struble. On the right, Dobson, Reinbacher, Carrier. Need another right defenseman, in my opinion. Yeah, well, they've been playing. Hudson's been playing that right side, right? Depth chart. Yeah, Hudson's been playing that right side. But yeah, in theory, in a perfect world, you have Hudson, Dobson, your top pair, and probably Gouli, maybe Carrier right now. Well, in the future, we'd say Reinbacher, your second pair. I'm talking years down the road. Matheson might be your third pair lefty guy. And on most teams, he'd be a second pair lefty guy. So I like how this locks in his availability as a top four guy who might be a third pair minutes kind of person in the future. But for now, keep eating those 25 minutes per night like a monster and no problem. Going back to the comments here, Kent Hughes has been working magic with the contracts. Yeah, Black Friday deal, especially with the salary rising. Imagine this Montreal core in a few years. Scary team. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of flexibility. When you look at this team and you think about, let's go back. Actually, look right here. Caulfield, 7.85, year 3 of 8. Suzuki, 7.875, year 4 of 8. Demidov in his entry-level contract, there's some flexibility. Slavkovsky, say what you will about Slav, whether or not he was worth that first pick, but he's still having a very good defensive year. He's a top 6 forward, getting paid 7.6 for 8 years. So at his worst, he's worth a little less. At his best, it's a steal. Jake Evans, 2.85 for 4 years. Great middle six centerman. You're going to get Anderson off the books. You're going to get Gallagher off the books. The Canadiens have a lot of opportunity here in the future to come. Very exciting. Going back to some of the comments here, 60 points and negative 24 is peak Matheson. Yes. And Anthem saying, already have 25, so I'm thinking of just updating the rosters on there. Yeah, if you have 25 already, and with roster updates you can get, then I'd say just update the rosters. If you're a franchise mode guy, especially, there's not much to get about NHL 26. So there you have it. All right, so I think that's about all the metrics we'd want to look at on Mike Matheson. And then this is interesting too. You might see some stats graphics that are very generous to Matheson this season, but keep in mind he's running very hot in terms of on-ice shooting percentage. True, he is shooting at 15.4 right now. So obviously it's going to come back down to the 4, 5, 6% eventually. So yeah, 4 goals in 22 games to start the season. He had 6 all year last year. So I don't think anyone's expecting him to be a 25-goal scorer, so it's not like that's the most important thing in the world. But just keep that in mind. In fact, he has the highest of any defenseman. That's a huge reason the Habs are currently winning. His minutes. Oh, when he's winning his minutes when he's on the ice. So on ice shooting percentage versus save percentage, Mike Matheson at the top of the NHL right now. My goodness, look at that. Even Dobson pretty high. Crazy. I didn't think about that stat. Yeah, I hadn't caught that. Cool. Mikey. Going back to the comments here. For all the reasons I just spoke about right now, I like this contract a lot. I think the money now works out. Longer term, towards the last 2 years of that contract, will it be as good? No. But will the salary cap by then be like 110 plus million? Yes. So I don't mind this contract at all. At its worst, it's something that you bury on the third pair in the last couple of years when you have fourth liners making $3 million anyways, right? I like the contract a lot. I think for a guy who eats 25 plus minutes per night and a guy who very realistically could have been getting 7 plus, or even, I don't mean to be crazy, but maybe 8 plus as a UFA, to stay in Montreal, to continue giving that presence in the top 4, take Matheson out of this lineup next season and then have an injury or something, then who's playing in here? You have Dobson, Hudson, yes, but are you going to have Struble and Engstrom and Jack-Eye in your top 4? No, Matheson provides a lot to this defensive core, because Caden Gooley with his injury proneness-ish, and I love that contract of 5.5, that injury proneness, whatever you want to call it, that having Matheson is a great insurance blanket there a little bit. One of our channel members here, Golden, you think there's a chance they consider trying to move Matheson or Gooley to the right defense side due to the mass amount of lefties Montreal has? If I'm not mistaken, Matheson has played a decent amount on the right side already. So yeah, I could see that. But I think Carrier could very comfortably play second pair right D as well. So I'm not too worried about the Canadiens defense right now. It's going to be making sure that they have support. The Caulfields, the Suzukis, and everybody has support. Newhook, great. Now he's injured. Line injured. Like, they have to use that money to make sure that the middle 6 scoring is going to be supporting that first line. All we need is size as well. We aren't good against big teams, so a big top 6 forward definitely should be in the books for Kent Hughes and Jeff. Well said. Yeah, I agree. A big top 6 forward go a long way. Can that magically fall out of the sky? No, but I think that having that in mind, whether it be through trade or draft or whatever, Slavkovsky, it's nice to have him there, but he's been working on his defensive game, which is nice. That offensive side has to come out too. And if it's not going to, fine, but we have to pivot and not just let those years tick away. So there are my thoughts on that Mike Matheson extension. I think it's a big dub for Kent Hughes and the Canadiens, both now and into the future. 5 years, $6 million on him. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. A 62-point defenseman once upon a time with Montreal, now on pace for over 50 points this season and still eating huge minutes. He's been averaging 25.06 through 4 years with the Canadiens, still averaging close to 25 minutes per night this year, even with the addition of Dobson, even with the emergence of Lane Hudson. He is still out here eating minutes and going to be paid $6 million over the next 5 years to stay here in Montreal. I like him a lot. I'm glad he's here. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as in the Discord server, link in the description. Over 700 people always talking hockey in there. That's where the news broke first, and we'll talk more about that over the days to come. So thanks for being here. We'll have Detroit Red Wings franchise mode up tomorrow, and tomorrow night live stream with our hockey legacy manager, Palermo Portobello's, coming your way. So 2 uploads tomorrow. Yes, an upload and then a live stream tomorrow for Saturday the 29th. Have a great Black Friday. Kent Hughes having a good Black Friday. Love that deal. Can you get a better deal out there somewhere at Costco? You let me know. Have a great day, everybody.